What is up, everyone? It is me. I am back today with a collection update. Got some 2018 releases as well as a couple of older ones. Let's roll right into it. First up, we got Ritual Necromancy with Disinterred Horror. This was put out on Dark Descent Records. Came out earlier this year. These guys play death metal, very much in the vein of sort of early Incantation. They add a blackened twist to it, but not enough for it to be considered a blackened death metal record. These guys wrote a fucking great record. There's only 5 songs on it, but these 5 songs will fly by so quick. And if you haven't heard of Ritual Necromancy, they put out, I think they might have put out an album. I'm pretty sure this is their second album. They put out one album a few years ago, and then they did an EP in 2014, I think. If you haven't heard of Ritual Necromancy, definitely check these guys out. They play some solid death metal. Highly recommend those guys. And then next is a band and a record that I've confused with Disinterred Horror. This is Abiogenesis or Abiogenesis or whatever by Burial Invocation. Also put out on Dark Descent Records. I don't know if it's the fact that both these records have 5 songs, or that their names are sort of, the band names are sort of similar in lengths, or that I just bought them both at the same time. But like I said, I've been confusing songs between both these records to be for the other band. But, death metal record, fucking solid. Some of the songs are a bit drawn out though. I think there is only one song on this record that is below 8 minutes, so I think that's an instrumental track too. So all the other 4 songs are very lengthy, and I don't know how they composed it or whatever, but when I'm listening to this, I sort of get like lost in my own thoughts. Like I'll just space out and I'll completely forget that this fucking thing is playing, and then it stops playing and then I go play something else. But in the time, I've sat down a couple of times and actually forced myself to listen to this record, and it isn't bad, but like I said, it's just having it being drawn out a bit with these songs being sort of lengthy. Bit of a downside, but overall it is still a very solid record. These guys are from Turkey. I don't think I've heard of a band from Turkey. They put out an EP and a split, and then ended up breaking up in 2012, and then they got back together in like 2014 or 16 or something. And then they put out this record, which, like I said, fucking solid record. But if you are sort of like, have like sort of a short attention span, this record might be a bit much for you to go through, but still definitely check this one out. And I think also, maybe it's just me, but I feel like if you like Burial Invocation, you'll like Ritual Necromancy, and the other way around too. Maybe that's also why I'm confusing their songs, because they sort of fit kind of together in a way. Now for some older stuff. We got Horrendous with Sweet Blasphemies. This is their debut EP. I'm pretty sure this one was a re-release that came out on Dark Descent Records as well. I think that last song there, Disgusting Beyond Belief, was a bonus track for the reissue. Solid debut EP to lead forward for what would end up being a solid career so far for these guys. They have 4 records out. All of them are solid, but this was a great starting point for them. And if you haven't heard of Horrendous, hopefully you have, because they've put out a killer record a couple weeks ago as well. But if you haven't heard of Horrendous, start with this and then work your way forward so you can see the progression that they have made throughout the years. And then next up, Green Day, Stuck With Me. Green Day being my favorite band. If you've watched this channel at all, you would know that. This is a Stuck With Me, a live single CD. Stuck With Me, Dominated Love Slave, and Chump are the songs that are recorded live at a concert in Sweden in 1995. For those of you that say Green Day isn't a punk band, I mean, I know they have a lot of pop punk stuff, but definitely listen to the record Insomniac, which is the record that Stuck With Me came off of, because that record is like the most punk rock record Green Day has done. There's very much a lot of aggression, not a lot of downtime. It's very short. It's like just over 30 minutes with 14 songs. So definitely check out Insomniac if you're a fan of punk, because that hopefully will live up to your expectations. It's more of a punk record than Dookie was, and it's definitely more punk than the next couple of records that would follow it up. Next up is a band called New Pollution with a EP called Veni Vidi Vici, signed by all three members, Shannon, Carson, and Blake. Self-released by these guys just a couple weeks ago. Actually, I think the EP came out in August, but the CD ended up shipping late, so I only got it a couple weeks ago. 5 songs. Their vocalist, Shannon Taylor, she is a YouTuber as well. She goes by the name Hey There, I'm Shannon. She did a solo EP last year or the year before, and that solo EP was very much pop punk based. She did okay singing, but her vocals on this record have improved so fucking much. She almost sounds like a different person. She took lessons between her solo EP and then this one, and it definitely really shows. She sounds amazing. These guys, the pop punk stuff is sort of in there, but I feel like it's more of like a poppier, almost dance-like record, kind of along the lines of a band like Against the Current. So if you like sort of like a pop punk or like dance type stuff, give this one a listen. And as far as I know, if you order the CD at all, you'll get it signed by all the members. So definitely check that one out. Next one is one that kind of, it's split down the middle from what I've seen, but I feel like most people don't like it. Dimmu Borgir with Aeonian, put out in May on Nuclear Blast Records. Fucking love that art. First record in 8 years. Was it worth the 8-year wait? Not really. Some of the songs could definitely be written better, but it's basically Dimmu Borgir how you would expect them at this point in their career. There's a couple songs that fit in right in with the Abrahadabra and In Sorte Diaboli type sound, with having the orchestra in there, but there's only like 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 songs on here that have the actual orchestra. It's mostly just choir stuff that they have for this record. They got rid of the orchestra for the most part. There's also a lot more blackened elements to this than they have had in their last couple of records. The opening song, The Unveiling, that one was kind of had a bit of a blackened tinge to it. The last one, which is an instrumental, Rite of Passage. The only songs I can remember off the top of my head that have the orchestral elements to it is Interdimensional Extinction, which was the lead single, as well as Alpha Aeon Omega. I feel like for what Dimmu Borgir has done the last few years of their career, or the last couple of albums, since it's been 8 years since their last album, I feel like for what Dimmu Borgir has done, if you liked that stuff, you'll like this record. But it's not a true return to form. They're not going to go back to For All Tid. But if you liked In Sorte Diaboli, what the fuck was the record that came before that? I can't remember. But I think it was Puritania Misanthropic. Well, fuck, I don't know. If you liked In Sorte Diaboli, some of it, you don't even have to like all of Abrahadabra, because I know that was a highly orchestral record. But if you liked some of the songs off that record and Sorte Diaboli, the one before that, I feel like you'll like this. And it's a solid Dimmu Borgir record. And last off, to conclude this video on a filthy, rotten note, Torture Rack, Malefic Humiliation. The CD was put out on 20 bucks spin. There's 3 different labels involved in the tape, CD, and vinyl release. And 20 bucks spin did the CD. This is some absolutely fucking filthy, disgusting, whatever adjective you want to use, death metal. It's an incredibly short record. It's just around 27 minutes. There's 9 songs. And this is just some punishing, straight to the point death metal with some violently filthy lyrics. And this, for me, right now, along with the new Outer Heaven record that I'll talk about in another video, is sitting at Record of the Year right now. These guys just fucking, how they constructed this record through 9 songs, it's just a flawless fucking record, and it goes by like that. So definitely, if you're into Pissgrave, any of the other bands that are fucking coming out of the Pacific Northwest right now, Witch Vomit, give these guys a fucking listen, and hopefully you fucking love it, especially if you're a fan of extremely rotten death metal. And that is going to conclude it for this video. I'm going to have links in the description down below for all these releases, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.